I think it goes without saying that the ADAR is one of the best bang for buck options in Escape from Tarkov. But with a mountain of different attachments to choose from, a lot of people can get confused when modding this absolute beast. So today we're going to be getting into the best places to spend your money on this gun and get the most out of your ADAR. Stick around and enjoy. Before we get into the builds, I want to say that all these builds will be used live on stream where I stream 5 days every week. That will be in the description, as well as screenshots for all the builds I'm going to be talking about here today if you want to get to the nitty gritty straight away. So we're jumping straight into the flea market, looking up the rechargeable battery. And for around 12,000, sometime to about 15,000 rubles, you can get a rec battery. And with the rec battery, if you go over to Skill 1, you can actually barter this for an ADAR, which actually equals to about 12 to 10,000 rubles less than what you can purchase an ADAR for directly from the trader or on the flea market. As for modding, the modding is very simple. The first thing you need to do is drop the gas block to a low profile. Doesn't matter which one here, I'm going to be using the MK12. Looking at the compensator, we're going to be jumping straight into the fact that I prefer the ADAR suppressed. Now you can buy any sort of compensator here that your heart desires, but the truth is, if we jump into the KAC compensator, we can put a suppressor over the top of it. Now, the interesting thing about the NT4 is sometimes the FDE variant is cheaper than the black variant. So this is something that you need to be thinking about when making your choices when modding. A lot of the time, people will sell FDE variants for cheaper than the black variant simply because some people find them ugly. As for the scope choice, it's going to be the same thing once again. We're going to be jumping straight into the FDE Spectre, as I believe this is a great assault scope and gives you good reach while simultaneously being roughly about 25,000 rubles. Once again, price check to make sure that the FDE variant is cheaper than the black one. However, there are better scopes here as well. There's a really good one here called the Contact Prism, which can be mounted on the contact mount here. And we're going to be looking at the Compact Prism here, which is actually a really decent scope for around 25,000 rubles as well. So this is my decent bang for buck build with the ADAR. I like to be suppressed and stealthy when using this gun, and usually pair this with 55A1. Alright, so now for the part of the video where you guys have to make the conscious decisions about what scope you want. I do like the LCAN as well as the NC Star ADO, which basically has a 3, a 9 times, and as well as a red dot on top. This is actually a really brilliantly cheap scope for around 24,000 rubles. And I would actually always pair a good scope with your ADAR as you want range with this gun. As well as the KMZ, which can be purchased from Pratpor as well for a decent price, running you up about 16,000 rubles with the mount around 18. Now these are really good options and I would always consider spending up on a scope here. Now as we look at the skier attachments, we can also buy a compensator for the ADAR, which gives us a lot less recoil here, which is the PWS CQB 556. It's actually quite cheap, however the ADAR is incredibly loud. So as for mid-tier, we have a few different choices. The first one is we're going to dropping the wooden stock for a pistol grip. And if we look at the stocks, we don't have many choices here without spending too much money. And I think the best way to spend your money is actually on the PDW stock here. Now once again, you have to choose between the black or the FDE variant and do your own price checking to see which one is cheaper at the time. At the time of filming, the black one was actually cheaper on the flea market and it looks better, so we're going to be using that one. As we look over at the mag, it doesn't super matter. Some mags have different stats, but we're just going to be using the standard Colt mags. And as for the pistol grip, we had a good choice between the Hera Arms HD15 as well as the Stark pistol grip. Now once again, the Stark pistol grip actually has one additional ergo. However, I do not like the color and it is actually cheaper as well. So if you don't mind the aesthetic, this is a good option. Now, as once again, I want to point out the fact that you could use the other color variant as well, but the Hera Arms is the good choice here for me. Basically, because of the barrel size, we are limited on the handguard that we use. Now, the most important choice here is the difference between the RIS-2 and also the Mo handguard here. Now, if we look at the Magpul Mo SL handguard, we're actually going to be noticing that it has really good stats for a good price. However, we're limited on the grips that we can put on the front of it. If we look at the grips, we're stuck between the tactical grip from M-Lock, or if you buy the 4.5-inch rail, or the key guide here, the Magpul M-Lock 4.1-inch guide, you're going to notice that if you can't buy this from traders, it's going to send you back a lot of money, around 49,000 rubles or more, and you're really at the price of people flipping it. So, you know, these are choices you have to make. Maybe consider running a RIS2, which is probably going to be the better option because it comes in with built-in rails. If you guys are enjoying this video so far, feel free to subscribe for future gun build guides. Let me know in the comments down below what you'd like to see next, and I'll consider it for the next video. As we jump into the stats, however, once again, after we've removed the front gas block, we will look at the RIS2 here. And what we're going to be noticing, it has the built-in rails like I talked about. So maybe this is a choice that you can consider and save more money this way. Once again, we can compensate it with the PWS, but that is up to you whether you want the gun loud or not. But it is the best bang for buck compensator here. But it's actually outclassed by the Bulletech here, which actually has 1% extra recoil reduction. As for grip choice, we're going to be talking about the TD Aluminium, which is my favorite grip at the moment, simply because of that huge hit to the ergo that it gives you. Now, that is actually really important with semi-automatic guns. You know, sometimes you can trade it out for something like an RK0, which actually has much better recoil reduction, but at the cost of ergo. So if you are a recoil guy, you can go ahead and put an RK0 on there. Now for scopes, once again, we're going to be using the Spectre, but you can use any of these other cheap scopes that we talked about, like the Primary Arms or the other ACOGs, as they are incredibly good value. Make sure you put good reach with a gun that deserves to be shot at range. Now this build will actually set you back about 76,000 rubles, but once again, you can actually save a fair bit of money here by cutting corners in a few different areas. If you switch up the Bulletech compensator for the NT suppressor, we actually notice that we're going to have a lot worse stats here for recoil, but much better stealth, which is really important with the ADAR. As we look at some other different choices, we're going to be moving into upper tier builds. We're still going to be sticking with the KAC suppressor, but most importantly, we're going to be going to the MK10 handguard. And if you guys can buy the rail for this yourself, you can save a lot of money. Now you can put the Hera arms on there if you want to, but we're going to be sticking with the aluminium skeletonized grip here as it has great ergo. Moving on to the stock, however, this is where we're going to be spending a little bit more money than the other builds. Now once again, we're going to be sticking with the Hera arms pistol grip, but for the stock choice, we're actually going to be switching it up to either an MFT bus, or there are better options, but the MFT bus actually has incredibly good recoil control. So this is when you want to get that recoil down and get the time to reset down as well with it. But if we look at the MOE stock and the CDR and others in the Gen 3, they do have much better ergo. So if you are an ergo fiend, chase this down, as I do believe the ADAR definitely excels when its ergo is high. Looking at the scopes as well, you get an option for a rear sight, but you can also once again pair it with a scope like the Elcan or something with a decent amount of reach to really get the best out of this gun. Now this gun's going to set you back about 100k, but you know, that's not the worst, especially for how good this build really is. So that's it for this ADAR build guide. I didn't want to go into too much detail as I thought I'd share some realistic builds with you guys. If you enjoyed the video, feel free to subscribe for further videos. Let me know in the comments down below what gun you'd like to see next. And as always, we'll see you on the next one.